winter campaign returns for the 2020 leg of its journey. Welcome, Will.
Thank you, Jack.
Oh. We are dry. We're filming this on a very, very windy and wet Monday evening, but we wanted to bring you back to our campaign in 2020 and kick it off with a really important topic, Will, that is always in the winter campaign. And the title of it is Homelessness is Not Just for Christmas. And basically what we want to talk to you about is the huge amount of donations we got over the Christmas period. And this is across the whole country. I was listening to a podcast the other day and somebody mentioned it. You get a huge amount of donations in December. And a lot of that is from people who will donate just at that time of year. Yeah. And then when it comes to January, the donations really disappear. Yeah. I was having a chat with somebody up at the food bank today and they said, Jack, we've got so much, can we not give more out? And I said, yes, we will, but we have to be careful because donations will drop off. And by June, July time, September, August, not in the right order, it will be very, very empty, the food bank. So we wanted to talk to you this week, or Will did, because I've spoken for long enough already, about how important it is to sustain that help beyond December, beyond Christmas, because as we go into the different parts of the year, it's just still much as difficult to be homeless, to be vulnerable, to be out of money for food and all that kind of stuff. So Will, can you elaborate on what I've said there? I know I've spoken for a long time, sorry about that.
No, the point is well made, and actually we've noticed something different in terms of how people have been talking to us, having volunteered over the Christmas and New Year period. And that change is them recognising that actually this is a 365 day of the year experience for many, because they were interacting with people who were explaining that they've been in this situation for 3 months, 6 months and so forth. So you're absolutely right, there is usually inevitably a drop off in awareness, but there isn't a drop off in the need. But I was struck by the way that people perhaps are getting more into the nature of what we do and the problems that are sustained throughout a whole year. So I'm hoping that this year maybe that's not going to happen. Interestingly, a couple of the stores that collect on our behalf, there's definitely a bumper crop, even although we're in the second week in January, which last year I don't recall that we had quite the same benefit. So I think genuinely people are realising that this is an all year round problem. I think we all accept that the problem has got to be addressed in different ways, and that's something we'll talk about as we go through the year. But yeah, I suppose the call to everybody is that actually January, and the weather is predicted to be wet and cold, February and March, that we've got to provide that sustainability. And that's part of the success of House of Bread. You know, we've been running for 10 years now, and our food bank has never run out of food. And we are generous, and we are proportionate, and we're wise, and we can talk about a bag content maybe at another time, and how we provide that offering in that holistic way that we do.
Well, we have on one of these videos, if you want to go back and watch, we took you through all the different types of bags and what goes in them. So yeah, great way. If you haven't caught up on any of the winter campaigns, we suggest you go back. But Will, can you explain why it's important to sustain help? I mean, that's through us working as a very small charity on the ground with homeless people and vulnerable families and all that kind of stuff, all the way through to people doing trips abroad and volunteering for just a few weeks somewhere in the other side of the world. Why is it important to sustain that and not just dip in for a small amount of time?
I think that's really, that continuity is important, and what we noticed from some of the people who did volunteer over the festive period was they did get the understanding that actually I can meet that person the following day and build up a relationship. And we're talking about expanding our caseworker group anyway, is that we need diversity of volunteers who are consistently there and work through what works for them. You know, we bang on about quality, not quantity. And I've been speaking to so many people over the last couple of weeks who said, well, I can only manage an hour here or an hour there. It makes such a difference
if it's consistent.
Yeah, and the other thing is, as a volunteer, we've seen people grow immensely within their own self-esteem and well-being. So it not only has a fantastic effect on our friends, but it also has an interesting effect on the individuals that are gifting their time. But you're right, the demands on the needs for support is every day of the year. And so therefore, if we want the best of the best of the best we can, then we ought to have the level of support that we had on Christmas Day every day, because it's needed.
And it's very interesting, the people who came to volunteer on Christmas Day who hadn't volunteered before, it was such a fantastic day. It was absolutely fantastic. And people say, oh, is it like this every week? No, it's still Christmas time. It's still special. It's a special time of the year. And just like going back to work in January for everybody else, it's just the same for us. It gets really exciting at Christmas, and then you're back to the normal, you're back to the grind. So we do need people to carry on volunteering. If you want to help, this is the best time to get involved with House of Bread. January, February, beginning of the year, it's the time where we get the least amount of people wanting to help, people donating. We're still getting loads, don't get me wrong, there's still a fantastic community out there giving us lots of stuff, but it is just a great time to get involved. Finally, Will.
Yeah, I think one of the things that our 10 years has put us in terms of a knowledge is that we do have a number of very specific roles that people can engage with. So if you're somebody who says, well, actually, I really want to do one particular thing, or what sort of things do you need doing? There's always a need to be a listening ear. But we've got a lot more range of things that you might want to get your teeth into, either as part of a group or individually. So if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in, and maybe you want to bring in your skill set that you have in your workplace, or just as an individual, come and ask us. We don't mind if you say, well, I'd quite like to do this, could we do that? We'd much prefer for you to experience and take on board things that is close to your heart as much as it is to ours.
So if you want to know anything, please do get in touch. We do not bite. We love getting questions asked. Thank you very much, Will, for joining me. Thank you very much, as ever, for joining us. And we have got so much planned over this next year. I'm going to start a little counter in the corner every time Will mentions that we're 10 years old, because he tries to cram it into every situation. If you want to know what's coming up, all the different events, fundraising, a little bit more light-hearted video, Hob News goes up on Sundays at 4. They're great fun. But until then, we shall see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.